What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Entrepreneur on Campus podcast. Let's go. My name is Matthew Brown. I'm a student, I'm an entrepreneur, and I love learning. I've created this podcast to help you discover hidden opportunities. Hey, hope everybody's doing super well. This interview was fantastic. I interviewed Hanna, who is the CEO of the company Homie. He's also been involved with, he was one of the founders of Entrata. And before I tell you just a little bit more about his business experience, I just wanted to say that meeting him was fantastic. He's such a great guy. He lives a well-balanced life. He has a great family, and he knows where his priorities are. And he's out there to make a difference in the world. So I hope that this interview is just great and that you guys can really enjoy it. So a little bit more about Johnny. Hanna has been involved in the real estate industry since 2003 when he co-founded Entrata, formerly known as Property Solutions, a software system sold to property managers. After growing the business to $100 million in recurring revenue, he decided to leave and start a new disruptive company. Johnny co-founded Homie in 2015, and despite significant opposition, Homie has become the largest broker in Utah and is growing in Arizona quickly, and he plans to go national soon. In this interview, we talk a lot about what disruption does to the market, about the pushback that he's received and that everyone that disrupts a market will receive. And I hope you guys enjoy it. So here it is with Hanna. Awesome. Today I'm here with Hanna, who is the CEO of the company Homie, and I'm so excited to be here today with you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here with me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So as we've just been talking, I'm super interested in your life. I'm super interested in the companies that you've started. I was first introduced to Homie driving on I-15 here in Utah, and I see 15 billboards that all say different things about Homie.
I think we have 24.
24. So there's a lot of them. And so I was intrigued with Homie. I've been interested in the real estate industry for a while, and it's been something that I've wanted to look into more, and it's honestly just a privilege to have you today. So I would like to just get a little bit of a background on yourself, and I'd like to know, so you've been involved with a couple of different entrepreneurial pursuits. Have you always been an entrepreneur, or is that something that you stumbled into?
You know, I've never defined myself as an entrepreneur, and I don't even know if I would still. I love to create. I love to add value, and I love to keep as many doors open as possible, and I feel like opportunities have just kind of fallen into my lap.
Awesome. Could you go into your career a little bit, what you've been involved with, the different companies, and where you're at right now?
Yeah, I don't have a huge resume in terms of a lot of different businesses. Right out of college, I helped co-found a company called Property Solutions. It's now rebranded to Entrata, and I was there for 11 years. And in 2015, I just felt like it was time to do something new, and that business was just rolling forward. It's still growing. Yeah, it's going extremely well, but just felt like I needed to get back into the game again and start something new. So Homie came up, and that's what I've been doing the last few years. So just those two companies is really my background.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious why you left, because I've looked at Entrata and have seen that it is an extremely successful company, and you were a co-founder, right? And so what is it just that you love startups and you love disrupting industries, or what is it that made you want to go start another company and leave Entrata?
No, it actually doesn't make a lot of sense why I left the company. I mean, I had a great income. Yeah, the company was growing. Again, like I mentioned, it's still going really well. But yeah, I just on a Wednesday night in December of 2014, I just felt like it was time for me to move on and do something new. I slept on it for a day, felt even stronger the next day. Didn't want to say anything to my partners because, again, the company was still just blossoming. Yeah, we were on track to do 100 million in revenue that year. So I mean, it was going really well. And
this is recurring.
Yeah, 100 million in recurring revenue is what a run rate was.
It's incredible.
So yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense, but I slept on it again, not wanting to tell my partners that day. And then Friday came around, and I felt the weight of the world telling me it was time to go, time to do something new. So I told my partners that same thing. They didn't believe me. They were like, are you going to a competitor? What are you doing? This sounds fishy. Like you're getting paid a lot of money, like whatever. Like, why would you be leaving this? And I just told them, how I felt and what I needed to do, but I said I wasn't in any hurry. I didn't have any clue what I was going to do next.
Really? You didn't know about the idea of Homie?
Oh, yet. No, I didn't know what I was going to do. And so I said, look, why don't I leave January 31st? I'll take a few months. We'll make it a smooth transition for me, like any of my duties. If I need to hire anybody, to replace me, if I need to make sure clients feel comfortable, because I was over sales and client services. Those were two of my divisions.
Yeah.
So I was super connected to all my clients, and I just said, I'll make it a great transition and just let them know, yeah, it doesn't make sense. This is just what I feel like doing. So January 31st comes around. I still don't know what I want to do, but my partner's throwing me a little going away party at noon.
Mm-hmm.
When that was done, I had a mutual friend that lined up a meeting with a guy named Mike Peregrina, and he came in that afternoon, and he just said, hey, you've built a real estate software company. You've done it for apartments, but I have an idea. They can help automate it for buying and selling homes. And it's real estate software. You know what you're doing. You've done this. You've built a big company. Do you want to partner and go into this? And he's like, and I'm thinking the name of the company, Homie. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm a homie. Let's do this. So yeah. I love the name. My wife hated it at first because I overused the word homie already way too much. But yeah, like that afternoon, like my last day, it was proposed to me. And I didn't look at that as like, oh, this is a sign, this is what I should do. I did my research. I wanted to find out like why Zillow or Truly or any of these other companies hadn't automated the realtor or automated parts of the realtor's job, or like why this industry was still so old, charging such high fees.
Yeah.
So I did my own research, and in the meantime, I met with other venture capitalists that had invested in a lot of companies like Peak Ventures. They made a bunch of intros to me, for me, to other companies that they had invested in. Little startups. Podium was just like 3 guys, and I met those guys, and you could tell they were well on their way to success. Owlet was brand new, loved those guys. Mm-hmm. Met with a few others, Sorensen Capital, Kickstart. They all introduced me to a few of their portfolio companies. So I definitely wanted to look around and see what is it that I want to really do for the next several years, because Entrata was property management software, and I never grew up thinking, oh, I can't wait to disrupt the property management industry.
Yeah.
And while I actually became passionate about that, and it was a lot of fun, I didn't know like if I wanted to go be a fireman or if I wanted to do something else that I just had never even tested before.
Yeah.
Did I want to go work for an established company, or did I want to get into a startup?
Yeah.
I had no clue. But just over time, I met with entrepreneurs like every breakfast and lunch. I couldn't sit still. I was like, what's next? What's next? And Homie just kept coming back. And my partner, Mike Peregrina, who introduced the idea to me, we call him Hustle. That's his nickname. And man, he hustled to get me to be part of this company. And he would call me all the time being like, hey, time's ticking. This idea is gold. We need to do this. Mm-hmm. And then I reached out to one of my old co-founders of Entrata. He was our CTO and co-founder, Mike Trianfo. Mm-hmm. And I told Mike Peregrina, I said, look, we need a coder. We need somebody who's a CTO. And I said, this guy's amazing. So if we're going to partner, I want him to be one of our co-founders. And he just was like, absolutely. 2 co-founders from Entrata. And he came from Mercado Partners as a venture capitalist. So he knew how to raise money, and is our CFO, just really, really brilliant on that front. Anyhow, I told my wife, I lined out everything, and I said, these opportunities offer this much salary and this much equity, and here's where they all are. And then there's Homie, that is, I'm not going to be making a dime. It's the least likely to actually succeed because no one's ever done it before. Mm-hmm. The Real Estate Association is the largest lobby group and most powerful lobby group in Utah and in the United States.
Yep.
We knew what we were up against, and so I said, but I would love to take on this industry. It would be such a thrill to do it. And she just said, as long as you don't sacrifice our family for a startup, I will support you in whatever you want to do. So that's kind of how it all came about.
Sounds like an amazing wife.
amazing wife. Yeah, and when we were talking earlier, she is my business partner in life. We try to run our family like a business as well. Just meetings, strategy, all of that, like trying to really have a successful family life as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Actually, later in the interview, I would love to talk about that a little bit more in depth. But for right now, before you go in and talk about what Homie does, I am curious. So you were involved with Entrata, which is a software for property management, and you were involved with the clients and the sales. So I'm actually curious, what is it like to sell to property management? How did you go about doing that?
Like when we first started?
Yeah.
Like how do we even begin?
When you first started, how did you go and sell your product to property management companies?
So we won a bunch of business plan competitions. We won the BYU business plan in 2003. We won a national business plan by Fortune magazine. We won all these that kind of funded the company, but it took years to build the software.
Okay.
But I was over sales.
Yep.
You know, I'm coming on in sales, so I was selling what we called vaporware. You know, it did not exist, but I had a really beautiful flip chart of what it was going to be and what it was going to look like. And so I actually just drove around to apartment communities here in Provo.
Yeah.
And just met with property managers, walked into their office, and most of them did not want to meet with me. And a lot of them didn't have authority to make purchasing decisions, so I would try to ask who the owner of the apartment was and try to get in with them. And it was really a rough go. You know, they're like, look, I don't want to introduce you to the owner. You don't even have software. And I'm like, but we're going to have something awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and we'll give you a deal. You know, so I was selling air.
An idea. Yeah.
An idea. And we started to have a little bit of success. People liked us. They liked our enthusiasm. They're like, look, I'll sign up. You know, I'll sign up and get something. So we initially built little websites just to market their apartment community, and most of them didn't have websites in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So we did like Glenwood, apt.com, RainTreeApartments.com. We went around Lookout Point Apartments up on the hill. It was a tax credit property at the time. I don't know what it is now. That was, you know, however, in 2003. It was a long time ago. But yeah, went around doing that, and we got a few people to sign up, started building these websites, and that was the easiest thing to build so that there was something tangible.
Yeah.
And then we went from there.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. Okay, so talking about Homie, so let me try to describe it, see if I understand it correctly, and maybe you can correct me or add on. So typically when somebody buys a home, there is a real estate agent involved, and the real estate agent charges a fee for helping with the paperwork and everything that's involved in buying a home. And the total fee, if I understand correctly, is usually 6%. So on a $300,000 home, that's $18,000.
Yep.
Between the buyer and the seller agent, right? And Homie is the idea of instead of paying that fee of $18,000, come to Homie, which is in a sense a real estate agent.
Yep.
And it's a software and a technology that will do everything that an agent does, and it is significantly cheaper. Do you guys have a flat rate? Is that
$1,500?
$1,500. That's what I thought I saw. So $1,500 fee, and you're saving a lot of money by doing that. So question I have is, well, first off, do you want to add anything to that? Is that the main model? Is that how you guys make your money?
That is the main model. It's not necessarily how we make our money because it's such a low fee.
Yeah.
We do, because we are the largest listing broker in the state, we do have volume, and that helps reduce our costs. Yep. But we're also now a mortgage company. So we're Homie Loans, and we're about a month away from becoming a title and escrow company. So our goal is to streamline the whole process of buying and selling, not just the realtor piece.
But you can go to Homie, you can get a loan for your house. They'll do the transaction for you. You'll just make the entire home buying process cheaper, more efficient.
Yeah. Do you happen to know what loan officers make in commission?
I don't, but
nobody does.
A lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's the thing. So there's so much fat built up in the loan process. And I don't know if you know how much title and escrow agents make. It's a lot. And there's so much fat. So we want to trim that all along the way, streamlining it, lowering costs everywhere, making it a much better experience. We are having a lot more enemies because of that in this space.
That's what I was just going to say.
But it's like that's actually where we make our money, is on the ancillary services. We're trying to make it as easy and cheap to buy or sell the home from a realtor standpoint.
Wow.
Then we make the money elsewhere.
Wow. Okay. That's powerful. That's
Yeah.
extremely disruptive.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I know we were just talking before we started this interview about some of that and how you're getting a lot of pushback because that's what happens when a market is disrupted is people that had jobs doing certain things like that can be automated and it threatens people's jobs in certain senses. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, if you think of this industry, most agents charge around 6% commission, and they do about 6 deals a year.
Mm-hmm.
So just so few deals that are actually done by the real estate agents. There's 14,000 agents here in Utah.
Wow.
So all doing just a handful of deals a year. We'll probably do about 400 homes this month. So if you think of that, like all those consumers are saving on average $10,000. But those 400 homes may have gone with other realtors that typically charge those huge fees. So that's a big chunk of commission that we are taking away, but we're putting that back into the hands and pockets of consumers. So it's bolstering the economy there where it's now discretionary income to where they didn't think that money they would ever have. And so that's money they're now putting back into the economy.
Yeah. So Homie is primarily based in Utah. It's also in Arizona. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And have you guys expanded to other states?
We want to go nationwide as soon as possible.
Okay.
But yeah, it's expensive to market and educate everybody on everything we do. Because a lot of people think it's free to buy a home with an agent. They don't realize that buyer agent is forcing the seller to pay another $10,000.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the big problems. A lot of our clients that sell their homes don't want to pay that. And buyers just go and hire their friend or family member or neighbor to be their agent. And that seller is then stuck paying an extra 3% commission to the buyer agent.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to change an industry when they've been doing the same thing for 100 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So we can't just roll out nationwide. The expense is in education and marketing.
Yeah.
That's why we have so many billboards.
Yeah, especially because, like you said, you are the first person to actually do this. That's why it's so risky. That's why you told your wife, like, this is the biggest risk, is because nobody's done it before. And so education is key, right? Because people don't understand how everything works and they don't understand how something like Homie can help, right? So it's education and then selling the product because it's so helpful.
And we're not the first to actually do it.
You're not?
We're not. I think we're the first to have success doing it.
Gotcha.
And I think this play of adding mortgages and title and escrow is where the revenue's made. There's other companies who've just tried to lower the fee and they've gone out of business.
Because they can't support
sustain it.
The legal fees, the
legal fees and the fights that you have against the establishment, it's so time consuming and so expensive to fight all of these different organizations that are coming after you, all these different brokerages that seem to be teaming up against you. It's a really hard battle to fight. So that's why people haven't had success doing this.
Interesting.
And one other thing too. So we have found clients that aren't willing to share their experience of how awesome Homie was for them because they have so many realtor friends on Facebook and they don't want to hurt their feelings. And so there's this interesting dynamic where they want to use us, but they don't want to hurt their relationship, even though relationships shouldn't be based on money, right? But this occurs. People go to family reunions and it's like, you didn't hire me as your agent. You went with Homie, and it hurts because that was $10,000 to them. That's a big part of their income for the year. And so there's grudges that are held, and that's what people have been afraid of.
Yeah. Wow, that's intriguing. So you've been involved with 2 different companies that are in the real estate industry that have been very disruptive, very different. Typically, when I think of a real estate business, I think of a brokerage. I think of maybe a fund or some kind of investing firm. I'm curious if you've been involved with any of that yourself.
No.
You haven't been?
No. I mean, I had a rental property, but
yeah.
I've put all of my money back into any company I've been
into
part
the businesses.
Of. Yeah.
And I'm also curious if you think that there is still a lot of opportunity within the real estate industry besides what you've already taken on for disruptive companies.
I think even with what we've taken on, there's room for competitors to Homie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at all the real estate brokerages, there's a lot of variety. You can choose, Remax, Berkshire Hathaway, Keller Williams. I don't personally know the difference between all of those guys. They all kind of blend together to me, but Competition is what drives growth, and we welcome it. And so we believe that we're at the forefront in this real estate industry.
Cool.
So we think there is so much opportunity in so many different areas. And the internet, we feel, is just at its infancy, especially in the real estate sector.
Yeah, that's so I interviewed another guy by the name of Preston Alder. Do you know him?
Yeah, I know Preston.
Yeah, so he started the company Neighbor, and that's another company that's
Love it.
involved with disrupting the self-storage industry, right?
Yeah, we've partnered with them in a lot of instances.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, I'm super interested in just that industry and the opportunities that are involved. So I would like to ask you. Let me pull this up really fast. What would you say are the biggest headaches and problems with disrupting the real estate industry? We've talked about this, but what are the biggest ones?
I think, the real estate industry as a whole, like property solutions.
Let's talk about Homey.
Yeah, Homey in particular, it is the fact that it only takes 3 weeks to get your license. The barrier to entry to become an expert at selling or buying a home is 3 weeks.
To become an agent.
And so it's you don't know what you're going to get when you hire a realtor, and that's where we thought we can make this consistent if we find great agents and then we do this in volume. So we've taken the realtor and their role and divided it out into teams of specialists. So we have people that just do marketing, where if you think of a typical realtor, they're the ones that post your home on utahrealestate.com or Zillow or KSL.
They take the pictures, they do the walkthrough, they do everything.
It's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
But this is where we said, look, if we have people that all they do is marketing, we could crush it there.
Yeah.
And so now our real estate agents are doing 8,000 views per home just on social media. Mm-hmm. So you're getting all that traffic there. And then we have realtors that just do contracts and negotiations all day, every day. So they know the best practices of getting you into a bidding war or helping you win a home that's in a bidding war. Mm-hmm. And so the hardest thing has been education. That you have a jack of all trades realtor that maybe does 6-7 deals a year.
Yeah.
Our agents are doing over 100 deals a year, and they're focused just on their one particular area.
Yeah.
So they're actual experts, and people don't know that. No matter how many billboards we have, it's hard to educate all of these different pieces when you're driving 85 miles an hour. So we're trying to direct traffic to the website, but that's an industry that has thousands of people. When you only transact once every few years, and it's the biggest purchase of your life or the biggest sale of your life, education then becomes one of the hardest components to tackle.
So I kind of see it like this. If you look at the history of the United States, somebody wants to make and sell sweatshirts. They have to go and they have to buy yarn. They have to knit it themselves. They have to go and sell it. And then during the Industrial Revolution, they created factories, and the factory, one person would go buy the yarn, the other person would do the knitting, the other person would sell it, and then they would streamline the process so it was extremely more efficient.
Yes.
This is what you want to do.
And that's never happened. And we're talking about the Industrial Revolution,
That's how technological
old this
age.
Industry is.
Yeah.
But the difference is you buy a sweatshirt maybe every month, every couple months. You buy a home every few years. So that's where businesses that happen, where transactions happen frequently and for low cost, are much easier to disrupt. Industries that happen infrequently at a very high cost, and the home is the highest cost for a consumer. So this is partly why this industry's never been disrupted. It's just so dang hard.
Yeah. So you guys do a lot with residential when somebody wants to move. I'm curious if you guys are involved a lot with real estate investors. So let's say that I want to go and buy an investment property. Is Homey, can they do that too? Is that different?
Yeah, I'd say a good percentage of our clients are real estate investors, and that they've used us several times to sell different homes or buy different homes. So yeah, it's those investors, they're trying to make a dollar and flip the home quickly. If they don't have to have 6% commissions built in there, they make a lot more money.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a lot
more
investors.
potential there.
Yeah, a lot more potential. Where if they go buy a home, they have to flip it and at least sell it for 6% more than what they bought it for.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So you said that when you started this company, you knew what you were going into. You knew that you're going to face a lot of opposition. I'm curious what surprises have popped up as you've started this company. Which was in 2015, correct?
Yeah, 2015. I didn't know how hard it would be. I knew it was going to be hard, but experiencing it is a whole different animal. Again, why this industry hasn't been disrupted is because it is so hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, again, the barrier to entry makes it to where there's thousands of agents all around us. And so the fact that, we are selling homes faster than the rest of the market, the fact that we're selling homes for more money, the fact that you can save $10,000 on average, and the fact that you get a realtor from Homey to help walk you through the process. We have 14,000 agents that are saying the opposite. They're saying, oh, Homey doesn't help you price homes. We have agents that are dedicated to pricing homes, and that's all they do every day. Again, we dissected the role to where that's a specialty. All they do is grab the data from the MLS that shows the homes that have been sold previously, and we help you price your home. We give you a range, and ultimately it's up to you on what you want to sell it for. Mm-hmm. But we help you. If it's overpriced, you're not going to get tours, and you're going to know. The market's going to tell you whether your home's overpriced. Mm-hmm. If it's underpriced, you're going to get about 20 offers in like 24 hours.
Yeah.
And in this market where there's a low inventory for affordable homes, almost every home's getting multiple offers.
Yeah.
But the fact that they claim we don't help you price your home is hard to battle. It's hard to battle 14,000 individual agents. Or if they say, oh, they don't help you with the paperwork. Like, we actually have lawyers that help you with the paperwork on top of realtors.
Yeah.
So it's just it's that barrage of misinformation that we have to correct. And it is so hard. And in Phoenix, there's 44,000 agents. So it's endless. And I showed you a text that I got earlier.
Yeah.
Someone else saying, making some other false claim.
Yeah.
So it's my full-time job.
And especially, you mentioned this earlier in the interview, but I know a lot of agents myself, right?
Yeah.
And everybody does, because they're so frequent. It's such a low barrier to entry that there's so many agents, and so it's kind of, it feels like a risk for a lot of people to say, I used Homey, and
that's the other thing.
Opposition is insane.
It's taken a little while to grow because of that. We are the largest listing broker in the state, but people bragging about us online isn't happening as frequently because they don't want to hurt the feelings of their neighbor or whoever it happens to be.
Right. Okay, obviously you're extremely passionate about this, and I've enjoyed talking to you about it so much. I'm interested, what are the best things about disrupting this industry?
I think this conversation, it is exciting, and anytime there's a challenge, you want to take it on. So these challenges, it's just making me more gung-ho to do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna make a difference. I'm gonna change this thing. It's wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a moral obligation to change this industry. So as hard as it is, I think the pro of doing this is because it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's such a challenge, and it's I know that reward of hearing your client come back and tell you we saved $14,000.
Yeah.
We had one client actually that was an MBA student here at BYU. They may have graduated, but they sold a home with us. They bought a home with us, and they got a loan, and they saved $24,000.
Wow.
But they also told me they were having trouble getting pregnant, so they used that $24,000 to pay for in vitro.
Wow.
And they ended up getting pregnant. And so they were like,
that's incredible.
That money allowed us to have little baby Calvin. And so they become good friends of mine as well. And they just text me a picture of his first tooth that it popped up, And so it's fun to see, our goal was to change lives. In that instance, we kind of helped to create the life a little bit, But
yeah, that's amazing.
So those are the rewarding things that are popping up that help us to keep going.
Yeah. I'm curious, do you ever feel overwhelmed by it all? Or are you just always so resilient, let's go to war?
I would say I'm overwhelmed every single day.
Yeah.
It's so overwhelming. And I mentioned I got 6 kids and 1 on the way, so everything is overwhelming. But I think that's life. I don't think it gets easier. I don't want to I'm hopeful, that we just grow and adapt with all the additional challenges.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've learned a lot, I've grown a lot, I've been able to take on a lot more. But yeah, overwhelmed is a good, I don't know.
Good term to describe
Good
how
term
you feel.
to describe exactly how I feel.
So you mentioned to your wife when you started this company that, well, she mentioned to you, I'll let you start this company as long as it doesn't get in the way of family.
Yeah.
Obviously, with all of everything that's going on with Homie, it would be very easy to be spending 18 hours a day working. How have you been able to manage your family life and everything else in your life, and also be able to be successful at work?
Yeah, I think it's a challenge. I think, we've talked about being overwhelmed. I think she feels that, I feel that. So it's just, I think what we do is we communicate nonstop. And that's what's gotten us through.
Mm-hmm.
So she shared with me, that she wants me home at 6 for dinner. So I try to be home at 6 for dinner every night. Yeah. And that was actually the first thing she shared. Now, have I been home for dinner every single night? No, absolutely not. Mm-hmm. And she knows that. And I told her too, when we started the company, it'd be seasonal. Mm-hmm. There'd be sometimes where I'd have to put in crazy hours, or I'd have to go on road trips. I'm heading to Phoenix tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I think as long as there's just constant communication, you work together and figure things out.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about family, but before that, I just had a quick question. So I've been interested in investing in real estate properties as well, and something that agents have provided for me is they send me listings. They send me listings of different properties that I'm interested in specifically. I tell them, hey, I'm looking for this kind of property, this kind of price range. And then whenever something pops up on the MLS, they'll send me an email with that listing. Does Homie do something similar?
Yeah, our agents are all part of the MLS, and so the MLS actually has a little notification tool that you can put in your parameters, and then it just sends those deals to our agents that we send to you.
Gotcha. Cool.
So it's very similar.
Cool. Good to know. Okay, sorry. I had to ask that question really fast. It just came to my head. But yeah, diving back into family a little bit. So a lot of my audience, the podcast is called Entrepreneur on Campus. It's for an audience that is interested in entrepreneurship, perhaps doesn't know what they want to do exactly. Maybe a lot of them are married, maybe a lot of them aren't married. I'm not married, and as I'm dating and learning about what I want to do with my life, what have you found, like with your relationship with your wife? What's important to look for in regards to business? And you mentioned that your wife is your greatest business partner, and that your relationship with her has been your greatest success, even greater than the 100 million recurring revenue for Entrata. So I'm really curious as to your opinion with that.
On what to look for?
Yes.
When you're dating in terms of business. Yeah, I think it goes back to communication and connection. And you and I have similar friends, or friends in common, the Hildebrands.
Uh-huh.
So they have their website, Connections Classroom, mm-hmm. and that's actually helped my wife and I improve our communication. Mm-hmm. And there's a book by Joseph Grenny called Crucial Conversations, of having these conversations that need to occur that are a little bit more sensitive. And I think if you can learn to have those when you're dating, or learn what this Connection Classroom teaches, of being open, being honest, being vulnerable, humble, responsible, those are principles that if you can learn, before you get too far into anything, I think you can be successful no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. And meaning your family's going to be successful no matter how much money you end up making.
Really comes down to communication.
Connection, I would say, is even better than communication. True connection.
Cool. Great. I'm also curious as to your personal process of goal setting.
I'm not too great in that area. And I think as an executive team at our company, we do a pretty good job. We're getting together here this Friday to set our new 90-day goals, and we have a really good process there. But I don't know, personal goals, I need to improve. I need to get better. I'm pretty good at doing the New Year's resolution, and I'm pretty good at falling out with the rest of America. So, yeah, I'm not an expert there or one to probably follow. But yeah, I mean, I would say my goals of connection with my wife and communication, that's something that I just, we work on daily.
Yeah.
So those type of things, I think, could be looked at as goals that I really have is my main goals. But in terms of, I don't know how many books I'm going to read, or exercising, or eating right, or getting up and doing this routine, I need to improve.
Yeah. Do you currently have some kind of routine that you follow in the morning to get you amped up for the day? Or
Yeah, I mean, I typically wake up and remove a little baby's shoulder from my eye and push off my little boy off my belly. I mean, with these kids crawling at night, and so I try not to wake them up. We got a couple puppies, so I got to go downstairs and let them out. I made bacon and eggs this morning. We got all those crazy kids before school, so it's a pretty common routine. But yeah, that's it looks pretty chaotic.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I go through every day.
6 kids, 1 coming.
One coming, yeah. Another little boy. So we had 5 boys, then a little girl, and now another boy.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I honestly just want to thank you again for being willing to meet with me and talk about your business and your thoughts about life. And I think that this interview has been extremely insightful. I've been able to learn that there is a lot of opportunity still within the real estate industry for disruptive companies, and that it's not easy. and yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, no, thanks for the conversation.
Appreciate it. Okay. All right, everybody, that's the interview with Johnny Hanna. I hope that you enjoyed it. Go out and use Homey when you buy or sell your home, and support them on social media channels. And anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I wish you the best with your entrepreneurial pursuits. If you like this podcast, please subscribe. We're now on YouTube. We're on the podcast app, on iTunes, and we're also on Spotify. So I'm trying out a few different platforms, and I want to see which ones are the stickiest, which ones are the best. So anyway, let me know your thoughts as well. You could just send me an email at matthewcbrown96@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Love you all. Have a good one.